This is really important. We're going to look at the geography and climate of Israel as we continue. We're learning that the rains start in November. We're looking at some more precipitation averages, right? Look at from May in the red here, from May to October, again, barely any rain. Then once November shows up, we got lots of rain going through the rest of the year, right until April.
In Israel, January is the coldest month, and July and August are the hottest on average across the country. Most of the average rainfall in Israel falls between November and April. May through to mid-October are usually rainless.
I mean, you hear me repeating that a lot because that's what we want you to understand. See, if you know when summer starts and it's in May and it ends in October, and that's a 6 month period, and you divide that in half, it'll let you know when autumn starts. You know, if you know that November is when the rain starts and it's for 6 months and it ends in April, that's going to let you know when, after the first 3 months, when that latter rain is going to start. So all you need to do is know when summer and winter actually, scripturally, and in the land of Israel start, and then just count 3 months in and 3 months out. Again, we're counting, and you'll have a perfect understanding of where the seasons are and when the year begins.
No, I mean, right now the information is very clear. I just hope the brothers and sisters understand this information and that it's clear.
All right. Just read something about the 6 month rainy season now, or winter rain season.
The 6-month winter season begins in the 10th month Tebeth, which is equivalent to November, and ends 6 months later in the 3rd month Sivan, which is equivalent to April. It's a total of 6 months. The first 3 months are called the early rains. The first rains, the former rains, or the winter rains. The early rains begin in the 10th month Tebeth, which is equivalent to November, and end in the 12th month Adar, which is equivalent to January. It's a total of 3 months. The last 3 months are called the latter rains, the second rains, or the spring rains. The latter rains begin in the 1st month Abib, which is equivalent to February, and end in the 3rd month Sivan, which is equivalent to April. It's a total of 3 months.
Okay. Let's read about the rains.
Therefore shall ye keep all the commandments which I command you this day, that ye may be strong, and go in and possess the land whither ye go to possess it, and that ye may prolong your days in the land which the Lord sware unto your fathers to give unto them and to their seed, a land that floweth with milk and honey. For the land whither thou goest in to possess it is not as the land of Egypt, from whence ye came out, where thou sowedst thy seed, and wateredst it with thy foot, as a garden of herbs. But the land whither ye go to possess it is a land of hills and valleys, and drinketh water of the rain of heaven, a land which the Lord thy God careth for. The eyes of the Lord thy God are always upon it, from the beginning of the year even unto the end of the year. And it shall come to pass, if ye shall hearken diligently unto my commandments, which I command you this day, to love the Lord your God, and to serve him with all your heart and with all your soul, that I will give you the rain of your land in his due season, the first rain and the latter rain, that thou mayest gather in thy corn and thy wine and thine oil. And I will send grass in thy fields for thy cattle, that thou mayest eat and be full.
Okay. So this information here in the verse that we're getting from, this is confirming why we use the land of Israel, because that's the land that he brought them into. The climate of that land has not changed over the last 2,000 to 3,000 years, they've said, at all. Even before that, it hasn't changed, but there's no records to show before that. So notice that he says he's giving the rain. He calls it the first rain and the latter rain. That could be the early rains as well. Notice it's in its due season, right? And he says it's from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. And this is, again, to me, very clear. He's talking about his calendar, right? From Abib to Adar.
In the Compact Bible Dictionary on page 488, under the heading Rain, it says, in Palestine, the rainy season extends from October to April, and the dry season from May to October. The early rain occurs in October and November. The latter rain in March and April. Crops are therefore planted so that they will grow during the rainy season.
Again, it goes from October to April for the rains, which we know is from November, and it's the dry season from May to October.
Leviticus 26, verse 4. Then I will give you rain in due season, and the land shall yield her increase, and the trees of the field shall yield their fruit. Deuteronomy 28, verse 12. Jah shall open unto thee his good treasure, the heaven, to give the rain unto thy land in his due season, and to bless all the works of thine hand. Thou shalt lend unto many nations, and thou shalt not borrow.
His season, his due season, in due season is his season, same way, brother. Again, meaning that there's an appointed time, a moed for the rains. There's a moed for the rains, and there's a moed for the summer. Moed means appointed time, right, for the season. And the word moed, again, translates as season. So we can see, again, that understanding. But it has to come at an appointed time, and the Most High has told us that he does things according to his schedule.
Hosea chapter 6, verse 3. Then shall we know, if we follow on to know Jah. His going forth is prepared as the morning, and he shall come unto us as the rain, as the latter and former rain unto the earth. James chapter 5, verse 7. Be patient therefore, brethren, unto the coming of the Master. Behold, the husbandman waiteth for the precious fruit of the earth, and hath long patience for it, until he receive the early and latter rain.
We have the early and latter rain. We have the latter and former rain. So again, just so you know, former, early, and first are the same. Latter stays the same as well. So we have the 3-month early rains or winter rain season. And there's a reason why I call it the early rains, the winter rains, and the 3-month latter rain or spring rain season. And there's a reason why it's called the spring rain season. So again, the solstice and equinoxes are in the middle. This is going from the 10th month November to the end of April. So 10th month Tebeth equals November, and Sivan equals April. We look at the definition of the word early rain, first or former rain. First rain, former. Early rain, or what? Autumn shower. They'll call it rain which falls in Palestine from late October until early December, right? So when they're just giving you a little bit of information. They don't know exactly when it ends, obviously, but they're letting us know that it is late October, right? It says sprinkling, autumn showers, first rain, or former rain. And they call it, again, that autumn showers because it's just right at the end of October, as we keep saying that, at the end, the last maybe 10 days or so of October, it rains. Again, this is the 3-month early rain season or winter rains from November to the end of January. This is the definition for latter rain. The latter rain, also called what?
Spring rain.
They call it the March and April rains, which mature the crops of Palestine. But these, again, you don't know when it starts. It starts properly at February, and it'll show you that the latter rain in the scriptures, that the latter rain begins in the first month, and the first month is February. I mean, just think about it, what we know so far, right, family? If you knew, I want you to think, we're teaching the 6-month season. So if the latter rain was 3 months long, and it is, and it started in March or April, let's say it started in March, then we'd have March is the first month of the latter rain, April is the second month, and then we'd have May as that third month of the latter rain. But we know that May can't be rain.
That's right.
Rain can't be rain.
That's right.
Go to April, May is completely dry. So again, let's do the count. March, April, May. Boy. And if you wanted to even begin it in April, April, May, June. Phew, that's kind of off.
Spring can't begin in March or April. It has
That,
to begin in February.
that's right. It has to, in order for it to be correct to the 3 months. Spring rain, latter rain. This is the spring rain, or what we call spring, beginning from February. Abib equals February to Sivan equals April. The last 3 months.
Winter in Israel. Weather in Jerusalem in the winter is a bit less predictable than in the summer. The wet season starts in November and goes through to April. Song of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 11. For lo, the winter is past, the rain is over and gone. The flowers appear on the earth, the time of the singing of birds is come, and the voice of the turtle dove is heard in our land.
Okay, so when we take a look at this verse here, notice that it's linking the winter and the rain. So again, when we get out of our North American, blinders, as I call them, we can know that winter just means the rainy season. Now,
That's
does it
right.
snow? Does it snow in Israel? Oh yeah, Mount Hermon in the higher altitudes, you'll get snow, and from time to time you'll get snow in Jerusalem, but the climate remains the same. Winter, rain is over, and then of course that means when the rain is over, it's in April. And I always like to say this, but the April showers bring May flowers, or
Flowers.
bring summer flowers, right?
That's right.
The whole point here is looking at this word winter, right? And when I looked it up, it's satav, and it deals with winter, or the what? Rainy season. But then, as also, remember we're talking about 1 year, and how the year is summer and winter. What does it say down here at the bottom, brother?
The dark season.
That's right. So when we're looking at that as the dark season, again, it's just reminding us again about that day and night comparison, right?
Mm-hmm.
Meaning that the nighttime is like the dark season, is like equivalent to night, and it's cooler. So again, satav means winter or rainy season. Looking at our charts again, in the orange, we have our latter rains. Then we have the summer, and after the summer is done, the first rains come up, the early or the former rains come up. That's in the yellow.
Acts chapter 27, verse 9. Now when much time was spent, and when sailing was now dangerous, but the fast was now already past, Paul admonished them, verse 12. And because the haven was not commodious to winter in, the more part advised to depart thence also, if by any means they might attain to Phoenice, and there to winter. Acts chapter 28, verse 2. And the barbarous people showed us no little kindness, for they kindled a fire, and received us every one because of the rain, because of the present rain, and because of the cold. And after 3 months we departed in the ship of Alexandria, which had wintered in the isle, whose sign was Castor and Pollux.
Okay, so taking a look here, I like this verse, telling us something about the fast, right? It says the fast. When does the fast occur?
In the 7th month.
That's right. And so the 7th month, which is the beginning of autumn, they were looking for somewhere to winter in, meaning they want to go somewhere to winter, to stay in, because that's the time of the rains. And it's not good to be sailing during the rainy season, right?
That's right.
At all. So they're looking for a place to winter. If you look at here, this is where the fast is, over here. And as they're sailing, they're looking to find a place to settle down. And when you look at these verses, it starts from Acts chapter 27, and then the story continues through to Acts chapter 28. And there's a lot of reading in between, letting you know that time has been passing by. But when they decided to find a place to winter, they stayed there for how long again?
3 months.
It says remember what it says, because of the rain and the cold. So we have rain, cold, and winter. And we have the fast as well, giving us a lot of information. Here's the fast. They're cooling out. They're sailing, trying to find a place where they can settle down. They find it. They stay for 3 months, the cold, rainy winter time. From the month Tebeth equals November to Adar equals January. So here again, Israel's main official averages of whether you're talking about temperatures, you're talking about the daylight or the sunlight hours, whether you're talking about the measurement of rain or the amount of days it rained as well. I've had this chart for years, and we've made this chart exclusive. Did you want to say something, brother?
No, this is a lot of information packed into one chart.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, we have from Abib, February, going all the way through to Adar, January, color coding with our rains and our summertime from May, winter beginning from November, reminding ourselves that the equinoxes and solstices are the middle of the seasons, not the beginning. Because I mean, let's think about it. All right, we're learning about these seasons. If it's, as we were talking about, when it said March before was the beginning of the rain, if it was for 3 months, March, April, and May can't work. Right? April, May, and June can't work for those 3 months at all. But February, March, and April is a perfect 3 months. And as winter begins in November, which is equivalent to 10th month Tibet, this is letting us know again, 10, 11, 12, that this is the early rains. That, remember, the astronomical calendar begins their springtime in March. And that means they're going to be beginning their winter rains in December. And if it was December was the beginning of the winter time for 6 months, we have December 1, January 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That'll be the 6 months of rain. But we know that May has no rain. So it has to start from here. All right, let's get into the scriptural confirmation of all of this now. It says the rainy season starts to begin at the end of the 9th month.
Book of Ezra, chapter 10, verse 9. Then all the men of Jehudah and Benjamin gathered themselves together unto Jerusalem within 3 days. It was the 9th month, on the 20th day of the month, and all the people sat in the street of the house of El, trembling because of this matter, and for the great rain.
So we see here we have the 20th day of the 9th month, right, 10 days before the month ends, and they're trembling because of this problem that they had. They're in Jerusalem. They gathered themselves. And what does it say about this? It's a what rain?
The great rain.
So that's when the rains start at the end of the 9th month, October. We've been listening to that all day today, right?
That's right. Verse 13. But the people are many, and it is a time of much rain.
How much rain?
It says much rain.
It's a time of it, right?
That's right.
This is the early rains, right?
The beginning of the early rains.
Mm-hmm.
And we are not able to stand outside, neither is this a work of one day or two, for we are many that have transgressed in this thing.
See, so they came into the city, they gathered themselves, but because now it started to rain and everything, it's causing a problem, and they're not able to be outside. And it's not a small work. This was like 3 months it took.
That's right.
So here we have the 20th. It was the 9th month on the 20th day of the 9th month. Here's Kislev, equivalent to October. This is when now it's beginning to rain, right? We're going to read in Ezra chapter 10 that they sat down on the first day of the what? 10th month. And they made an end by the first day of the first month. You understand?
Mm.
And this is in Ezra chapter 10. Later on, you see it's in 10 here. It's later on in verse 16. So this is the first day of the 10th month, because they gathered here. They said, hey, you know what? We can't do this. So they said, all right, cool. They waited a little bit. They come here. They say, okay, we're going to start this. They sit down on the first day of the 10th month. They have all the people come towards them. They go through all the months. And then they make an end of it by the first day of the first month. So this is months 10, 11, and 12. And I just put it here to be the last day of that 3-month period.
Book of Ezra, chapter 10, verse 16. And the children of the captivity did so, and Ezra the priest with certain chief of the fathers, after the house of their fathers, and all of them by their names were separated and sat down in the first day of the 10th month to examine the matter. And they made an end with all the men that had taken strange wives by the first day of the first month.
And this is the first day of the 10th month, going through to the end of the 12th month, because after that is the first day of the first month. So if you want to look at it, let's look at it again. Ezra sat down in the first day of the 10th month. This is the 10th month equals November up here. And they made an end of it by the first day of the first month. and then down, so we got 1, 2, 3, and then we got the first day of the first month right here, which is Abib equals February. So he begins during the early rains, the first rains, and he ends off at the beginning of the latter rains.
That's right. So it took them a whole 3 months to settle the matter.
Yep, 1, 2, 3.
And that 3 months happens to be the full 3 months of the early rains, right up until the beginning of the first day of the first month, which begins the 3-month latter rain season.
That's right. And again, our solstices and equinoxes are the middle. But let's confirm something now greatly. How do you know that the latter rains start in the first month? Can we prove that by the Bible? And of course, with God's mercy and will and great wisdom, we can. So here again is the 3-month latter rains or spring rain. It says here the title is the latter rains start in the first month.
Book of Joel, chapter 2, verse 23. Be glad, ye children of Zion, and rejoice in Jair-El, for he hath given you the former rain moderately, and he will cause to come down for you the rain, the former rain and the latter rain, in the first month.
When does the latter rain begin?
In the first month.
That's right. This is very important. So we have the former rain, the first rain, the early rains that begin in November, end of October, November, Tibet, the 10th month. And then we have the latter rains that begin in the first month. And if it's the latter rains beginning in the first month, that first month, it has to be for three months. We have 1, 2, 3. We have 6 in total. We have the first early 3 months, and then we have the last 3 months. We're saying latter rains. And notice again, very clearly, it goes from February, March, and April. But let's say that if you wanted to begin the first month, Abib Nisan, somewhere at the end of March, because remember, it's just the equinox we do. It's still looking for a new moon nearest that equinox. And sometimes it starts in April the 4th or the 5th. And you're going to call that the beginning of the year or the first month. You can't look at March as the first month, because March, April, and then May would have to be included in that latter range. And you can't include that because May is completely dry. And then if your first month even began in April, which it does sometimes. So again, it can't be. We've just discovered already these months here. And we have our scripture to confirm that the latter rains begin in the first month. And that, to me, exposes any other calendar.
That's right. Clearly does. It shows us clearly that the latter rain season has to and must begin in the first month, which we know is February.
That's right. I mean, there's no other way to look at it.
And the problem with these other Israelite groups who claim to have the true calendar is that they don't consider the rainy seasons.
That's
Or
right.
they don't consider the rainy seasons at all in the land of Israel. All they're concerned is lunar cycles and when the month begins by the lunar phases. They do not consider when the rainy seasons and dry seasons begin and end. And this is where they go wrong.
Exactly, brother.
Latter rains and the first month. 1 Chronicles chapter 12, verse 15. These are they that went over Jordan in the first month, when it had overflown all his banks. Book of Joshua 3, verse 15. The ark were dipped in the brim of water, for Jordan overfloweth all his banks all the time of the harvest. Joshua 4, verse 18. That the waters of Jordan returned unto their place, and flowed over all his banks as they did before. And the people came up out of Jordan on the 10th day of the first month, and encamped in Gilgal on the east side, on the east border of Jericho.
So what we're looking at here is that we know that Jordan begins overflowing all his banks in the first month. But why is he overflowing his banks in the first month?
Because of the latter rains.
The latter rains, which are a little bit heavier rains, they're on the scene, you understand? So we see that the first month, Abib, it overflows his banks. And what does it say? It says Jordan overflows his banks, what? All his banks.
All the time of harvest.
That's right. That all the time of harvest is the first 3 months of the year. We're going to prove it. And again, it says when the waters returned and flowed over, because the waters receded so they can walk over the river. And this, again, we get confirmation that this was the 10th day of the first month. And these are just perfect truths with the land of Israel.
That's right.
So it says he overflows all his banks all the time of harvest. Barley harvest begins on the 22nd, going all the way through. Wheat harvest begins on the 12th day or the day after the 12th day, let's say, for wheat. I want to let you know that this is the sheaf. And when we count to Pentecost the correct way, we did this last week. It brings us to the Feast of Pentecost. These are the appointed weeks of harvest and are the latter rains, specifically the 7 Sabbaths to Pentecost or the first fruits. So notice it says the appointed weeks. Take note here in Jeremiah.
Jeremiah chapter 5, verse 24. Neither say they in their heart, let us now fear Jah our El, that giveth rain, both the former and the latter in his season. He reserveth unto us the appointed weeks of the harvest.
All right. These are the appointed weeks. This is the only time that Jah tell you to number your weeks or count Sabbaths. This is the beginning right here of the harvest, and it goes through. And still the rainy season continues more, but we got what? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, like I said before, 12 weeks. Whoa, that number is perfect. 12 weeks of 12 Sabbaths of harvest.
Yes.
So again, should be a confirmation again, letting you know when does it say it rains? For Jordan overflows all his banks all the time of harvest. Right? That's the same thing here we're talking about. Continue.
Proverbs 25, verse 13. As the cold of snow in the time of harvest, so is a faithful messenger to them that send him, for he refresheth the soul of his masters.
All right. So we know that snow can come during harvest time, right? Because it's part of the rains. When it snows, even where you are in North America, that's rain. That's precipitation. When it melts, it doesn't go, it goes into the ground and some evaporates, as you know. But the rain is watering the grass and the ground. Same way when it comes to snow.
That's right. In the colder climates where we obviously live, those rains are going to be snow and ice because it's just more colder over here compared to warmer climates. They're just going to have rain.
That's right. So when we look at Jah's almanac on a different level, Jah's 64-day, 12-month common year, and the Gregorian 12 months, again, a bib equals February. You see it goes, we're in color codes again. Summertime begins in May, ends October. Winter, the early rains begins in November, goes through. Adar is the coldest month of the year because it's the last month of the year. We have our latter rains. You saw a chart like this already. We have spring harvest, summer harvest, autumn ingathering, and winter seed time. All of this is according to the Holy Scriptures. We have our days for the seasons everywhere. Praise Jah.
Praise Jah.
And again, reminding ourselves that the equinoxes and solstices are the middle. It couldn't be. This lesson is showing you that it can't be. It can't be the beginning, because if the end of March 21st is the beginning of the year, and then you want to talk about the latter rains begins March 21st. That's practically 10 days away from April. So again, you'd have April, May. You'd have your rainy season going on to June, which it can't do because it doesn't exist that way.
That's right. Once again, the seasons are not dictated by the lunar phases, right? Mm-hmm. All these other Hebrew Israelite groups are failing to realize that they're not in tune with the rainy seasons of the land of Israel. And once you understand when the rainy seasons begin and end, you can see clearly when the beginning of the year now begins and ends. And it's very clear now to us that you cannot begin the year in March or April. It has to be in February.
That's right.